Hello everybody, I'd like to introduce myself. My name's Mark. I'm an amateur photographer based in West Yorkshire. This is my first ever YouTube vlog. Uncomfortable is, yeah, I'm very uncomfortable, but I thought I'd give it a go. Today's vlog really is just to introduce myself. Main reason for making it today is I was just packing my bag to do some photography tomorrow, some landscape photography, and I thought I would just show people the camera gear and lenses that I use. I will do videos in the future going through my landscape kit. I'll also go through my lighting kit as well. I mainly shoot landscapes, but I also do portrait work, usually on location. I have worked in the studio, but it wasn't for me. I preferred doing shoots out on location. So what I'm going to do today is just briefly run through the camera gear that I use. I'm not saying it's the best camera gear, it's done me proud. I'll explain why I use it and also what I've had in the past and got rid of. Okay, so to start off with, I shoot with Nikon D7100s. I've got two of these bodies because in the past I have done weddings and christenings and things like that, usually for friends and family. I'm not professional, so I don't class myself as a professional, I class myself as an enthusiast. So yeah, I've got two D7100s. I've no intention to upgrade to any other type of camera. I would love to get a D500, but I don't do sports or wildlife, so I don't think it'd be worth it for me. So two of these. This one is set up because it's to go in my bag. It's got the really useful L bracket. If nobody knows what one of these is, it's Arca Swiss. You can put it on your tripod this way, and then all you can do is flip it round and go into portrait. So landscape, flip it round into portrait. There are some expensive ones. This was pretty cheap, I think, from Amazon. The lens that I've got on here is the Nikon 16-85 DXVR lens. It's my go-to landscape lens. It's not that heavy, so it's always on my camera. Really good lens. Other lenses. The other lens that goes into my bag if I am doing landscapes would be the Tonica, I think that's how you pronounce it. This is the 11-20 2.8 DX lens. Really good wide-angled lens. I use this on landscapes when there's something in the foreground of interest. Never use it at 2.8 for landscapes, but really good lens. Other lenses that I've used in the past which were really good, I had a Sigma. I think it was a 10-20, but that was, I think it was an f5. Again, good lens, but I picked this up pretty cheap. I've never used it at 2.8 yet, but I can imagine I could have some fun with it. Other lenses, I have the Nikon. This is the 17-55 2.8. Really good lens. It's classed, it's a DX lens, but it's classed as a professional piece of glass. It's not VR, but to be honest, you don't need it. I have used this on landscapes, but it is a heavy piece of glass. I usually use this for portraits. Again, really good quality. The next lens is the nifty 50mm 1.8. Again, really light. I think everybody who shoots DX should have one of these in the camera. They do a 35mm as well, 1.8. But again, this always goes in the bag somewhere because it takes up little room, and it's a really good lens to have, especially if you want to play around with depth of field. If you're a beginner and you need to mess about with depth of field, I would recommend having one of these in your bag, and they're pretty cheap as well. If I keep looking above, I do apologise. I'm trying not to, but the other lens that I've got is the Sigma 70-200 2.8. Again, good piece of glass. I have used it for landscapes, but I only put it in my landscape bag if it's a short walk, because it is a really, it's heavy, so you wouldn't want to drag this for a 2-hour, 3-hour trek, plus your other gear as well. But I have used this for portraits, obviously in studio and out on location and at events, but landscapes, it has its uses if you have a particular shot in mind and you know you need to zoom into it. The other lenses I've got for landscapes wouldn't get the reach this has. I have used it on wildlife. I don't do wildlife, but I thought I'd give it a go. And the main reason for getting this was for portraits. When I used it for wildlife, I did buy the Sigma APO teleconverter x2EX just to give me a bit more reach, and to be honest, I did need it. The 70-200 is okay, but putting this onto it, yeah, I did lose the 2.8. I think it ended up starting at 5.6, but for doing wildlife, it was okay. I will put some images up at the end of this just to show you what I've got with some of these lenses, just to give you an idea. This wasn't cheap, but I think if for me to try wildlife, it was a cheaper option than buying, for example, the Sigma. Is it the 150-600 or the 100-400 lens? It was a cheaper option, so I thought I'd give it a go. I will do some wildlife again, using this combination. So that's my main camera gear. I do have a couple of more little cameras. I'm filming this on the Sony DSC WX500, I think it's called. And a nice camera. The reason I like it is because it's got a flip up screen at the back and I can see my face, which is a good thing or a bad thing. The other camera that I do have, which I use for street photography or just when I don't want to lugger things about, because obviously I am married, I have got a young family, so they don't want me lugging things about all the time and stopping, and so I do take this out, and this is the Fuji X100X, yeah. So far, really like this camera. I know there's loads of different variations now, and this is probably quite old for the new Fuji ones, but it's a fixed lens. I think it's equivalent to a 35mm. Reason I like that is I'm not tempted to start buying additional lens. In the past, I would class myself as all the gear, no idea. And I'm starting to get away from that now. So I bought the Fuji just because I can't attach anything else to it. So this is it. I take this out with me, and it makes you think about composition a little bit more, because you can't zoom into places, you've got to use your feet. So taking this out, even if it's just for a short trip into Leeds City Centre, for example, I'll take this with me, and I'll do some photography on the way and do some photography back to the car, and there's plenty of places where I can use this. So again, love this camera. Not tempted to go to a Fuji system. I do like my Nikon stuff. Okay, so it's a short one. I will be doing some more over the next few days. Like I say, I will talk through my landscaping kit, and I'll also talk through my portrait lighting. I use, for my portrait lighting, I used to use flash a lot. I used to use the Godox AD 180s and 360s, but I wanted to try something different, so I moved over to the Rotolight Neo system. I've got a couple of Neo 1s and a Neo 2. I've not used them as much. I don't think I've used them to the full potential, but I will talk about that in another video. Bags, camera bags, yeah, there's no holy grail for camera bags. I've had plenty, more than my fair share, and I haven't found one yet that meets everything I need. I buy one and then realise there's not enough space to put a day's worth of hiking gear in there, wet clothes, wet stuff for wet rain, things like that. So I usually sell them on. I have just purchased a new bag, and again I will probably do a video about bags, a separate video about that. Okay, thanks for listening. Like I say, it is my first YouTube video, and to say I feel uncomfortable is not a lie. I will be doing some more. When I get used to doing these videos and sat in this side of the camera, I will be taking you out on some landscape shoots where I will discuss the idea behind the shot I want to take, the settings behind the shot, why I'm using this, also what filters I'll be using to get the shot in the back of the camera as much as possible. I'm not into a lot of post-processing. I use Lightroom. I am no good on Photoshop because I get confused with all the different layers and things like that. But that's the plan. Reason for making the video, I have been inspired by YouTubers for a couple of years now. People like Thomas Heaton, First Man Photography, and a few others. And I do like their videos, and they have inspired me on a few occasions to get off my bum and get out. So yeah, so thanks for viewing. Thanks a lot.